Welcome back, Focus Learners. I am absolutely thrilled to have you in the studio today because we are tackling a topic that is literally a make or break section for anyone navigating the Cambridge 9706 accounting syllabus. Today's masterclass is all about completely demystifying International Accounting Standard 8. We're talking about accounting policies, changes in accounting estimates, and errors. But listen, we are not going to look at this from a dry, boring textbook perspective. No way. We are looking at this through the exact, highly critical lens of the Cambridge Assessment International Education Examiners. Think of me as your master coach today, and think of this session as your elite strategic blueprint for unlocking those top-tier marks. We're going to dissect complex questions, we're going to master time allocation, we're going to deploy critical thinking strategies, and we're even going to analyze how different types of students try and often fail to solve these problems. Get ready, because we are going deep. So, let's kick things off with a massive, high-stakes question. Why do incredibly smart, well-prepared students consistently drop easy marks on IAS 8? I see this year after year in the principal examiner reports, and honestly, it's a frustrating reality. To understand this, I want you to imagine two different types of top-tier scholars taking this exam. Let's call them Alex and Sam. Alex is highly technical, right? An absolute genius at formulas, totally excels at spitting out the facts, but completely freezes up on open-ended evaluation. Then you have Sam. Sam is a creative thinker, fantastic at building arguments and seeing the big picture, but really struggles with structural precision and strict time constraints. Both Alex and Sam lose marks here, but for entirely different reasons. The core issue usually boils down to terminology and precision. The distinction between a change in an accounting policy, like switching from FIFO to AVCO for your inventory evaluation, versus a change in an accounting estimate, like adjusting the useful life of a piece of machinery, can get really blurry when that exam clock is ticking down. Examiners know this. They set very specific, hidden traps to test whether you actually grasp these distinct definitions or if you're just throwing words at the page hoping something sticks. Today, we are eliminating that guesswork entirely.
All right, here is our systematic roadmap for today's masterclass. Number 1, core principles. Number 2, the procedural framework. Number 3, critical analysis. And number 4, examiner warnings. Let's get right to it.
Starting with Section 1, let's dive straight into the theoretical architecture, the absolute foundation of IAS E8.
Okay, pay close attention here, because this is where we need to talk about command word anatomy. The Cambridge Assessment Framework isn't just grading your math. It systematically targets 3 distinct cognitive domains, often referred to as assessment objectives. First is knowledge and understanding, which is your AO1. This is the baseline. This is where our technical student Alex usually thrives. Second is analysis, or AO2. And third, the absolute peak of the mountain, is evaluation, which is AO3. To hit those high-tariff 9 to 15 mark questions, you have to deeply understand what the command words are demanding. When a prompt says analyze versus evaluate, those are completely different tasks. Analyze means you are breaking down the scenario into its parts to see how they interact. But evaluate means you are making a judged conclusion based on that analysis. It's the difference between explaining how an engine works and judging whether that engine is the best choice for a specific race car. Same goes for explain versus to what extent. Explain is just providing the why and the how. But when they ask to what extent, they are laying down a hidden constraint. They want you to weight 2 sides of an argument and give a measurable judgment. The benchmark for IAS 8 requires logical, structured reasoning across all 3 of these domains. Examiners are explicitly prioritizing analytical depth over superficial breadth.
And this right here brilliantly illustrates exactly what examiners are desperately looking for. This quote is pulled straight from the principal examiner reports, and it is an absolute goldmine. It says, candidates referencing cross-topic connections achieve significantly higher marks. What does this mean for your strategy? It means IAS 8 does not exist in a vacuum. The whole theoretical architecture of this standard rests on understanding causal relationships. Think about our 2 students again. Alex might just write down the rule for a prior period error and stop there. But Sam, using a broader conceptual perspective, realizes that if an error impacts inventory valuation, you literally have to connect IAS 8 back to IAS 2. You have to show the examiner the ripple effect across the financial statements. Integrating these cross-topic connections is the ultimate key to unlocking those top-tier marking bands.
Moving into Section 2, we are shifting from theory to execution. Let's look at the procedural framework.
When you are facing a complex question, I want you to remember what I call the method mark strategy. Examiners generously award points simply for demonstrating a clear, logical process, even if your final number is slightly off. You need to master this exact 6-step standardized sequence to tackle any IAS 8 question from past papers. Let's walk through a digital study suite scenario. Imagine Alex and Sam are debating how to lay out an essay problem right now. Alex pushes for a purely factual layout. Sam argues for a conceptual perspective, but they are both struggling with timing and hitting a roadblock on how to link their paragraphs. Here is how this 6-step framework solves their debate. Step 1. Deconstruct the question. Isolate the command word and the constraints. Step 2. Extract the relevant data from the stimulus materials. Pull out only what you need. Step 3. Select your analytical framework. You have to decide immediately, is this a policy change, an estimate change, or an error? Step 4. Execute your analysis with crystal clear working. Step 5. Verify your results against the prompt's assumptions. And finally, Step 6. Present. If you systematically process every past paper question using these exact 6 steps, you will construct an ironclad response every single time, and you will never run out of time at the end of the exam.
Now, before we tackle the hardest part of the problem and zoom in on that final presentation step, I want to quickly pause our session. If you are serious about crushing your Cambridge exams and you want to ensure you never miss a weekly breakthrough strategy like this one, you need to subscribe to the channel Ace the Exams IGCSE O and A Levels right now. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button at acetheexam_IGCSE and make sure you enable all notifications so you get an alert every time we drop a new masterclass. Okay, let's get back to it. Zooming in on Step 6, Presentation. Executing this step requires strict adherence to proper conventions. I am talking about clear headings, correct accounting terminology, appropriate formats, and meticulous annotations. The source material emphasizes that practical application in IAS 8 develops professional skills. If you format a retained earnings adjustment poorly, or if you use sloppy terminology, you're leaving incredibly easy method marks on the table. Present your work like a professional accountant, not like a student scrambling for points.
We are now entering Section 3, Critical Analysis. This is where we learn how to truly activate your evaluative thinking.
Let's turn this into an interactive visual workshop. Imagine a complex data chart on your exam paper. You have 60 seconds to figure out what matters. To evaluate evidence quality effectively in IAS 8 and become a top-scoring candidate, you have to do 3 very specific things. First, you must question the assumptions made in the scenario. Is management's reasoning for changing an accounting policy actually valid, or are they just trying to smooth their profits? Second, you have to consider different perspectives. How does this accounting change affect different stakeholders, like investors versus creditors? And third, arguably the most important, you must justify your decisions with hard evidence from the text. This is the cognitive strategy that gets you unstuck. If you find yourself writing a mediocre, purely factual paragraph, you need to pause, step back, and ask yourself, what are the limitations of this data? Answering that question transforms a flawed section into a flawless, full-mark response.
Which brings us perfectly to Section 4, the top examiner warnings. It is time to learn exactly what not to do.
I'm going to make this super clear for you. There are exactly 3 critical mistakes. 3 very specific, classic pitfalls that consistently drain easy marks from students' exam papers all over the world.
Let's play a quick game of Spot the Flaw. Think of a poorly written student answer. What went wrong? Here are the top 3 examiner warnings that reveal the exact traps set for you. Mistake number 1, missing the proper format entirely, not showing whether an adjustment is retrospective or prospective. Mistake number 2, forgetting to check your presentation, leaving your workings looking like a messy, unreadable scratch pad. The examiner isn't going to hunt for your correct answer. And mistake number 3, which is absolutely the most fatal flaw you can make, providing answers that are not specific to the context given. Let's dig deeper into that last one, because it is the ultimate differentiator between an A grade and a C grade.
This is where we deploy what I call the paragraph balance formula. The classic exam alert for IAS 8 is providing generic answers. If a student writes a beautifully structured, textbook-perfect definition of a prior period error, but fails to apply it to the specific company facing the specific crisis in the prompt, they get 0 evaluation marks. 0. The top scoring strategy is to anchor every single point, every single calculation, and every single evaluation directly to the stimulus material. You must weave the company's specific data, their unique market challenges, and their exact context into your answer. Balance your technical knowledge with contextual application. Link every single point back to the scenario.
Now, to help you retain all of this under intense exam pressure, the source material actually recommends a highly effective memory hack. You should create a custom mnemonic using the first letters of the key IAS 8 terms. Think policies, estimates, errors,
Retrospective, prospective. Whatever phrase works for your brain, write it at the top of your scratch paper the literal second the exam begins. It acts as an instant anchor. This leads right into the last 5 minutes review checklist. Before time is up, look at your mnemonic and verify you've addressed all the relevant terms correctly. It ensures those crucial procedural steps are never forgotten when the adrenaline is pumping and the clock is ticking down.
So, are you ready to apply this exact framework to your next past paper? Let's synthesize everything we just learned into 3 core memorable pillars. The 3-step question scan to isolate command words, the paragraph balance formula to link facts to the scenario, and the last 5 minutes review checklist to lock in your presentation marks. You now have the architectural blueprint. You understand the cognitive domains, you know how to debate your own reasoning to elevate your answers, and you know the exact traps the examiners are waiting for you to fall into. Don't just passively review this masterclass, actively deploy it. Dive into a complex past paper question right now and watch your confidence absolutely soar. Crushing Cambridge exams requires consistent, relentless strategy. So if you found this valuable, hit that subscribe button for Ace the Exam's IGCSE O and A levels, turn on the notification bell for our future exam hacks, and drop a comment right now with your target grade. Keep practicing, stay incredibly focused, and I will see you in the next explainer.